Hello and welcome to Hustle Over Everything. This is the podcast at the intersection of business and culture. I'm your owner and host of the show, Alex Whitfield. And today we have a Wildcard episode, a solo Wildcard episode, which we haven't done in a very long time. And honestly, I'm excited to jump into it. We have a few things I want to cover with you. For one, the BET Awards. Number two, our event that we just did. And number three, we're going to wrap up on some Elon Musk topics and what's happening with Trump in LA and all that. So let's jump into it. So number one, firstly, I want to say to everyone that came out to the event, thank you so much. We had our grand opening for Whitmedia Studios. As you can see here, we're recording in Whitmedia Studios here. So thank you so much for everyone that came out. Honestly, they always say my heart is full, but honestly, my heart is very full. I had my mom there helping, my family there, my girl there, and honestly, it was overwhelming, the amount of responses I got, the amount of feedback I got. So I'm really thankful for that. And for other people that want to rent out the studio, I'm excited to have y'all here. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. So let's get into the BET Awards though. So this Monday was the BET Awards, and that was probably the best BET Awards that's happened in the last 10 years. Hands down. At least for me personally, I thought that was excellent. From the level of execution created, it was probably the one show I've watched with my family that we both got immense value from. So some of the things I want to talk about, for one, is the 106 and Park tribute. How they had AJ and Free there. They had they didn't have Roxy, but they had Julissa, Big Tigga, Terrence, and then they had the performances to match with Bow coming out to close it. Honestly, the 106 and Park tribute was such a nostalgic, great time to experience. It honestly made me feel a little bit old because I realized that we were raised on 106 and Park and how much of an impact it made on us. It was so good to see Keisha Shante too, because 106 and Park it holds a special part in a lot of Toronto's culture, but nobody knows that. Seeing Drake on 106 and Park was a huge thing for us, especially when Replacement Girl dropped and when he finally went on there as like a signee to Young Money. It was a huge thing for us. So seeing Keisha Shanti on there was just like a nostalgic moment that I think we all needed to see. Now, moving on from that, seeing T.I. come out, Jim Jones come out, seeing the 106 and Park tribute was, that really made it. And it was good to see that so many people looked good still. Anne-Marie looked good still. T.I. looked good still. So like the 106 and Park tribute, top tier. Now, I can't lie. One thing that really pissed me off was seeing how Playboi Carti came out. Because listen, this is a huge moment for Playboi Carti. Playboi Carti, if you don't know who he is, he's a mumble rapper. He is one of the biggest rappers in this generation right now, in the young generation. And it was unfortunate to see because there was a strong effort to try and keep BET at a high level, and it feels like he didn't really respect it and perform at a high level. And as someone who used to wear super baggy clothes, I get it. I get wanting to wear baggy clothes. But it felt like there was no elevation. It felt like he would just wore the regular thing he'd wear on stage anyways. So like, it felt like if you're gonna wear baggy clothes, okay, I get it, but like, step it up at least. Wear the flyest baggy clothes you got. It felt like he was wearing his everyday baggy clothes, bro. So I was like, what the fuck? Even if you look at everybody else who regularly wears baggy clothes and does their own thing, it looks like they all stepped it up. If you look at how T.I. dressed versus how Cardi dressed, even though they're two different generations, there's still a distinct difference. I feel like Cardi didn't have respect for the opportunity he was given, even though he's been complaining about being not taken seriously as a mumble rapper. So it's like, come on, bro. But overall, though, it was good to see that he got his time. One of the biggest missed opportunities that I saw was the opportunity to have Vybz Kartel at 106 and Park. It's like, it's right there. They had Spice on in the pre-show. It would have been such a dope opportunity to have Vybz Kartel perform at the BET Awards. Would have been like the biggest moment. I feel like that's just a missed opportunity that no one really took advantage of, man. So that's one of the things that really pissed me off. Now let's get to some of the icon awards. Jamie Foxx, the tribute that was done for Jamie Foxx, honestly, that gave me that feeling from way back when they had the Michael Jackson tribute with Usher. It had that feeling of nostalgia, showing the different elements of Jamie Foxx's career. It really had that reverence and respect that was necessary for it. And honestly, I was so touched to see Jamie Foxx cry during Jennifer Hudson coming out, seeing how he was bopping to the rendition of Blame It on the Alcohol. The Jamie Foxx tribute has to be one of the top 5 tributes from a BET Awards, hands down. What was so touching, though, was his speech. Jamie Foxx's speech, that was the first time a speech made me shed a tear. I can't even lie to you. Because for those who don't know, Jamie Foxx almost died last year. So to see him come back from being on his deathbed, his literal deathbed, and have a speech like that, give props to his whole team, and give props to his family, his sister, his daughters, and seeing his daughters there tear up. Honestly, that brought tears to my eyes. And I've never shed a tear at no award show before in my life. Ever. Now, on the topic of icons, let's talk about Kirk Franklin. Because this was a polarizing issue. For one, Kevin Hart was on Kirk Franklin's ass. He was talking about how Kirk Franklin was front twerking, and then Kirk Franklin went and proved him right. It felt like Kirk Franklin was like, oh, you want to see me front twerk? I got you. And it was interesting because Kirk Franklin always has this polarizing shadow behind him when it comes to his content, because he's always performing at secular events, performing at the BET Awards. On the YouTube comments, it's pure polarization between he's in the outside world, he's with the outside people, this, and that. And it's like, is that really the hill to die on right now? We are highlighting gospel talent and taking a moment out of this award show to exalt God, yet they want to create a problem with that. I don't know. I used to be on the other side, growing up, saying, oh, why is Kirk Franklin performing at a BET Awards? But I'm starting to lean to the other side of that, because one thing that online has shown us is that we need to create different pathways. Especially as a young man right now, there's so many pathways that lead you to the red pill this and all types of negative funnels online. So to have a funnel that leads towards God, honestly, let that live. Let it live. Let it breathe. Like, there needs to be more of that. And if there isn't, that literally cuts off that whole arm. So I think there needs to be more pathways towards gospel music, because for people like me, I'm not going to go search gospel music like that, to be honest with you. I need to be sent to gospel music. It needs to be presented in front of me in order for me to start gravitating towards it. I need to be reminded about Stomp. If Stomp doesn't come on, I'm usually not the one to play it unless I'm really in that zone, So having Kirk Franklin remind us about his talents and show his iconicness, I think is necessary for the culture. Next, let's talk about Snoop's tribute, dog. Snoop's tribute has to be top. Honestly, probably one of the best tributes I've seen, because he did it himself. The compilation having Warren G come out, seeing Dr. Dre on stage, he looked good. He was sharp, clean, healthy. Seeing Snoop perform was like seeing the uncle that you thought doesn't have it. So, nah, I still got it. No problem. I could go on for hours if you want. So seeing Snoop perform was honestly the best. And his His speech for his Icon Award was great as well because he shouted out everybody, left it on a good note, and it was dope to see him exalt his wife as well. You know, his wife is not in the front um, by any means necessary, but he made sure to give enough of a highlight for her too, and I think that was special. So honestly, the BET Awards was amazing. I loved it 100%. And one thing I want to touch on is Doechii. Doechii's speech was amazing. Um, it did feel a little bit performative, to be honest, but I think it's necessary. As someone that is a LA, I think she's an LA native. So to speak to what's happening with Trump outside of the BET walls of the performances and everything like that, it made a strong impact. I hope she doesn't get canceled for it. It's interesting. Whenever I saw her clip come up, under that was a comment about her being canceled because of what she's saying, condemning Trump, condemning Israel. So that was interesting. And I hope she doesn't get canceled because the industry is known to chastise and blackball people for coming out against Israel. So we'll see what happens. So we covered the BET Awards. We did it. Let's talk about this event. On Sunday, June 8th, we had our grand opening, and that was honestly a big undertaking for us. Shout out to the team, shout out to Crystal, shout out to Mike, shout out to my family, shout out to my girl for holding it down. Our event was great. So we wanted to keep it intimate. We had an RSVP list of about 35 people, and we completely sold it out or, booked it out. We were at capacity actually. So I was very nervous about making sure that everyone felt comfortable, that everyone felt like they were being served, and it really worked out to our benefit. So I was really, satisfied with the turnout for one. I was nervous because sometimes you need to balance how you sell versus you need to balance how you sell online, because if you promote too hard and too many people come, then you can't serve everybody. But if you promote too low, then you can't. Then you don't have a packed room. So you're just stuck with a small amount of people. So it was really strong balancing act that we had to do to make sure that there was not too many people, but not too little people in the room. For one, from a marketing standpoint. So try to just keep it short and brief. And honestly, we had some people repost it, like shout out to Sasha Gay. She reposted on TikTok, and that got an extra like 3,000 views. People were sharing it in their stories. A lot of influencers were sharing it in their stories, and that really helped bump up the numbers. So there was people that RSVP that didn't even show up, like a good amount of people that didn't show up, and we were still over capacity. So that, for one, was so helpful, and that was such a big learning lesson. Having people repost it in their stories. If you're doing an event yourself, I highly suggest just asking people to repost it in their stories. It's a small thing, small ask, but that made a strong difference. Now, some of the lessons I learned from this event was, for one, TikTok is king. We made about 2 videos on TikTok alone, and that was enough to bring in the capacity. Most people that were at the event actually came through TikTok and not through Instagram, but Instagram had more interactions. So the quality of distribution was stronger on TikTok than it was on Instagram. Next is we had more people that was needed for the event. We had some staffing issues, but we really pushed through. Everyone stepped up, and it was a great opportunity for us. One mistake I personally made was I didn't hire someone to do social media specifically, but that was like a double role. Like no one was specifically tasked with social media only. That was like do this and that. So that was my mistake, and that's something that someone should definitely be tasked with. So if you're doing an event, make sure you have 2, maybe 3 people tasked with social media content alone. Next is, for me personally, constantly checking with the team. Because I was being the host with the most, I didn't check in with the team as much as I could have. And that was something that I definitely could have done. But I want to give a big shout out to Oshawa City Hall. They came through on time. Matter of fact, they came early at around 3:40, 3:45 when the event was supposed to start at 4. And the ribbon cutting was supposed to be at 4:30. So firstly, shout out to the Oshawa City Hall, man. They were very, very hospitable, kind. Definitely was gracious, and they helped with the ribbon cutting. Shout out to downtown Oshawa. They reposted us on their story, reposted us on their feed. That was very helpful, and I've already started to see some more interactions with people. So a big shout out to them as well. So when it came to the ribbon cutting, we were actually supposed to cut it in the front, like in the back of the not the back, but at the front of the studio. But they had an idea to bring it inside the studio and involve everybody, and that really helped create engaging atmosphere and a more engaging photo. So that was great, So big shout out to Oshawa City Hall for that. Especially Derek. Derek was one who put it all together. So shout out to you, Derek. Appreciate you. We had two different activities that were going on through the event. We had a bingo where people could network and connect together, but we also had a recording session where people could get a quick 5 to 10 minute recording session so they could have an idea, a feel of what it'd be like to record with us. And my mom went into making a recording herself, and she made something that was really special to me. So I'm gonna do this for one differently, and I'm gonna reveal what she said because I think it was very, very touching. It almost made me cry, but I'm a thug. So, but yeah, I'll put that in right here.
Today, I had the awesome privilege of watching my son launch his podcast studio. What a blessing it was today. When he was born, I told him that he was my birthday present. And 32 years later, he continues to be my birthday present. I'm so grateful to him. But more than anything else, I'm grateful to God. I'm thankful for life, for the awesome blessing of living to see another year, to be able to breathe and walk and talk and love. Thank you. Special thanks to my son, to my family, to my friends, and to his supporters. I'm truly grateful. God bless.
Watching that really brought it home for me because you know, working on this has been a challenging experience for sure, but bringing it to fruition, I think, has really allowed me uh, to find where my Achilles is and where my holes in my game is to step up. So I really I'm appreciative of everybody that was participating. Big shout out to Mike for being like a soldier throughout the experience, and of course a big shout out to Crystal as well, like I already said. So it was a whole moment for me. It was honestly, it's hard to put it into words, for real, but it was definitely touching, and I'm grateful for everybody that showed up. And now I'm excited to keep the ball rolling and to start posting more and driving the traffic to the studio to really bring it to where it needs to be. So, yeah, I think that wraps up the studio. Um, Working towards wrapping up, I'm gonna talk a little bit about what was going on with Trump and Elon Musk. And to be honest, what shocked me more about the Elon Musk and Trump breakup wasn't that it happened, but it was the fact that I feel numb to it. It almost feels like business as usual. And that's what kind of scares me, is that we are starting to become accustomed to the moves that Trump and Elon are making. So it's not even feeling that different. It's starting to feel regular, like it's a everyday practice. And this is not an everyday activity that's going on. Um, and I think that's the biggest challenge. I heard somebody talk about this um, from their experience living in Russia, and they said the most concerning thing about what's going on isn't that it's not being fixed; it's that it's becoming normalized. You know, seeing what's going on between Elon Musk and Trump honestly isn't surprising, because when it comes to presidents and oligarchs, is an easy rule. It's never outshine the master. And Elon Musk was 100% outshining the master. And we all saw it coming, like it was like clockwork, that Trump was gonna leave Elon Musk out to dry. Suddenly he's not a proper immigrant. Suddenly he's a threat to the country. It's just so funny how it moves from best buddies to uh, illegal immigrant within weeks. It's insanity. But here we are. And I'm curious to know what you guys think about it. I'm curious to know what you guys think about the BET Awards. If you went to the our launch event, tell us what you thought about that. I would love to get your feedback. It's been an interesting time, and I'm really excited to see where the studio goes as we build this business up. I want to talk more about that as we do more wild cards as well. So I'm curious to get what you guys think. Make sure, if you're not already, following us on Instagram at 24/7 Hustler. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, go do that. Don't be a ninja watcher. Please do not be a ninja watcher. And yeah, I'll see you in the next episode. Hustle what you can't control. So control your grind and control your life. I'm Alex. I'll see you in the next one, y'all. Peace.